Hello viewers, welcome to Event Digital Classes. I am Rusha Kaur, lecturer in MSW department. Today I am going to discuss about poverty. First, the concept of poverty. The word poverty comes from the French word pauvreté, which means restricted. Basically, poverty means a section of people who are unable to fulfill their basic necessities of life. Poverty is the scarcity or lack of certain amount of material possessions or money. That means the group of people who are unable to fulfill their basic necessities. Which are the comes under basic necessities? The basic necessities of our life is food, shelter, employment and clothes. Those who are unable to fulfill their basic necessities, they are comes under the poverty group. Definition. Poverty mainly defined as the state of one who lacks a usual or socially acceptable amount of money or material possessions. Poverty is said to exist when people lack the means to satisfy their basic needs. As I elaborate in the concept part, the definition also means that same thing. The group of people who are unable to fulfill their basic needs or satisfy their family members, they are comes under the poverty group. We are just jump into the second definition of poverty. In this context, the identification of poor people, the first requires a determination of what constitutes basic needs. This may be defined as narrowly as those necessary for survival or as broadly as those reflecting the prevailing standard of living in the community. Now, I describe what is standard of living. Standard of living is a concept created by the society or as well as our human being. Standard of living comes from the economic condition of a family. So, poverty also related with our standard of living. If a family or group of people belongs high standard of living, that means they are rich, or the group of people who can't fulfill their standard of living very healthily, the group of people comes under the poverty group. The first criteria would cover only those people near the borderline of starvation or death from exposure. The second would extend to people whose nutrition, housing and clothing, though adequate to preserve life, do not measure up to those of the population as a whole. So, how could we differentiate between a poor people or non-poor people? The poor people have their own borderline. The borderline demarcated by their housing, clothing or economic condition. The second thing, the people who are also belong in the borderline of starvation or death, they also comes under the poor group. For example, with poor health, low levels of education or skills, an inability or an unwillingness to work, high rates of disruptive or disorderly behavior and improvidence. While these attributes have often been found to exist, this poverty, Their inclusion in a definition of poverty would tend to obscure the relation between them and the inability to provide for one's basic needs. Whatever definition one uses, authorities and laypersons alike commonly assume that the effects of poverty are harmful to both individuals and society. Poverty not only measured by the inconvenience of basic needs, the people who are lack of education, surviving in lack of education, unwillingness and high rates of disruptive or disorderly behavior, they also belong from the poverty group. And the concept of poverty is harmful not only for an individual, it also harmful as a whole for the society. Next, we discuss about the types of poverty. Poverty has its distinct types. So, we discussed about the types of poverty. First type is absolute poverty. Second one is relative poverty. Third one is material poverty, and the fourth one is social poverty. So, first one is absolute poverty. Absolute poverty, where household income is insufficient to afford basic necessities of life. What are the basic necessities? Food, clothes, shelter. That means when a family belongs from absolute poverty, they could not afford their basic necessities. That means their family income is not sufficient to run their life easily. Second one is relative poverty. In relative poverty, there is a little bit trick. What it is? The trick is, in relative poverty, people can income enough, but they can't afford the total salary or total income for their basic expenditure. They can spend only 50%. The rest of the 50% they maybe expend in their different issues, but not to fulfill their basic necessities. Third one is material poverty. Material poverty means it affects an individual physically by limiting a certain person's privilege to use tools, equipment and gadget relevant to his or her career. Example, like student not get enough educational materials like books, etc. So, in material poverty, it means that poverty not only comes the lacking of monetary help, it also comes when a person is less equipped. That means a student, when he or she not get enough amount of material, means books or others, gadgets or pen, pencil, these things, these materialistic things, when he or she not get enough amount of these materialistic things, she or he also suffers from poverty. Then the fourth one is social poverty. Poverty entails more than lack of income and productive resources that leads social exclusion and sustainable livelihood, lack of participation in decision making. In second slide, we discussed about standard of living. In social poverty, this means the similar things like standard of living. So when a people or a group of people belong from poor group, their standard of living is low, as well as they also excluded from the society as well. They are inadequate to participate or to provide their own decision. In this slide, we discuss about the indicators of the poverty. Indicators means measurement. How we measure poverty. In this slide, we discussed about this. The first indicator is PQLI. PQLI means Physical Quality of Life Index. Is an attempt to measure the quality of life or well-being of a country. The value is the average of three statistics: basic literacy rate, infant mortality, and life expectancy at age 1, all equally weighted on a 0 to 100 scale. The PQLI was first developed for the Overseas Development Council in the mid-1970s by Maurice David Morris. The Human Development Index is a more widely used means of measuring well-being. So, what PQLI means? PQLI means the Physical Quality of Life Index. Physical Quality of Life Index. How we measure Physical Quality of Life Index? We measure Physical Quality of Life Index by three statistics. What are the statistics are? The statistics are basic literacy rate, the second one is infant mortality, and the third one is life expectancy at age 1. What is basic literacy rate? Basic literacy rate, literacy basically divided by two, functional literacy and non-functional literacy. Functional literacy means those who are able to signature their name. So, basic literacy rate means those who are able to signature their name. Second one is infant mortality. What is infant mortality? Infant mortality is when the child death rate for a particular area. And the third one is the life expectancy at the age of 1. When a human being is born, his or her life expectancy means how many days he or she will be alive, that is measurable, and this measurement is approximate measurement. Next, we see how we measure PQLI. There are 4 basic steps to measure PQLI. First, find percentage of the population that is literate, literacy rate. Okay. So, how could we find the basic literacy rate? It is very easy. In a basic survey or census survey, we can easily find the basic literacy rate. Second step, how would we found the infant mortality rate out of 1000 births? In second step, first we have to measure the infant mortality rate out of 1000 births. For example, if in a village, there in their PHC, the number of childbirth is 2000. Among 2000 child, the child mortality rate is 100. And childbirth child mortality rate is is 100. So, among out of 1000 birth, the child mortality should be 50. Among out of 100,000 birth, mortality should be 50. So, then the equation comes is 166 minus child MOR means child mortality whole into 0.625. This is the equation to measure child mortality for PQLI measurement. So, at first we measured the basic literacy level. If the basic literacy level is X, then we can assume this as Y. We already found the basic literacy rate means X, LIT means literacy, X, child mortality means Y. Now we calculate the life expectancy. The equation for life expectancy is minus 42 whole into 2.7. Suppose the answer is Z. We can assume it as Z. So, we already found X, Y and Z. Now, we can calculate the PQLI. Then PQLI is X plus Y plus Z whole by 3 means the indexed or average value of basic literacy rate, child mortality rate and life expectancy rate. This is the value of PQLI and this is how we can measure PQLI. Now, in second we can discuss about the second indicator. Second indicator is HDI. HDI means Human Development Index. Human Development Index is a composite statistics index of life expectancy, education. In this case, Education means years of schooling completed and expected years of schooling upon entering the education system. It means a person how many years expend his or her life in educational system. And third one is per capita income. Per capita income means the average of a person's income irrespective of the total country's income. So, HDI means Human Development Index. It actually means the average value of life expectancy, educational system and as well as per capita income. A country scores a higher HDI when the lifespan is higher, the educational level is higher and the gross national income GNIPPP means per capita income is also higher. It was developed by Pakistani economist Mahbub ul Haq and was further used to measure a country's development by the United Nations Development Programs, that is UNDPs, Programs of Human Development and Report Office. So, HDI basically depends upon when the lifespan is higher, that means life expectancy. Second one is educational quality of a country is higher, that means educational levels, and per capita income and gross national income is higher because per capita income basically depends upon the income of a whole country. So, when a country's income is higher, it helps to uplift the Human Development Index as well, and the whole concept was developed by a Pakistani economist Mahbub ul Haq, and this concept is broadly used in UNDP's Human Development Program as well. Now, we finally discuss about poverty line. Poverty line is the level of income to meet the minimum living conditions. So, poverty line is a imaginary line where the minimum living condition, minimum standard of living and income is merged with each other. Next, we discuss about the poverty line condition in India. India is having a well designed poverty measurement mechanism under the erstwhile Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was the nodal agency for estimation of poverty. For setting poverty line and methodology of constructing it, the Planning Commission appointed expert groups from time to time. For example, the Rangarajan Committee is the latest among those expert groups. Traditionally, the Planning Commission estimates the number of people below poverty line in states as well as in the rural and urban areas based upon the prevailing poverty estimation methodology submitted by the expert groups. As we know, India belongs from third world country, means the economy of India is developing and India is a welfare state as well. So, India has a well designed poverty measurement mechanism and Planning Commission. The central government appointed expertise group to measure the poverty condition and to prevailing this poverty condition and give the poor people in a better life. Now we discuss about some poverty alleviation program, anti-poverty program in India. All programs are run by the central government with the collaboration of state government. So the first program is Integrated Rural Development Program, IRDP. The Integrated Rural Development Program was introduced in 1978 to 1979 and universalized from 2nd October 1980. That means the program was proposed on 1978 to 79 and it comes into existence from 2nd October 1980. What is the aim and objective of the program? It aimed at providing assistance to the rural poor in form of subsidy and bank credit for productive employment opportunities through successive plan periods. The last word successive plan means at that time there was a planning commission and 5-year plans were running. So the main objective of the program IRDP was to give the subsidy from the bank to the people who are belong in BPL level. BPL means below poverty level, to upbringing their lifestyle for their sustainable development. On 1st April 1999, the IRDP and allied programs were merged into a single program known as Swarnajyoti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, SGSY. The SGSY emphasizes on organizing the rural poor into self-help groups, capacity building, planning of activity clusters, infrastructure support, technology, credit and marketing linkages. On 1st April 1999, the IRDP program, the main program was IRDP, and there were several short or small programs were running also. The whole thing, the IRDP and the allied programs were merged into one whole frame that named Swarnajyoti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, and the main objective of SGSY was build a self-help group. That means government provide monetary help or equipmental help, but the group of people by their own create a own group and started their new beginning. Next, we discuss about the second program. The second program is Johar Rojgar Yojana or Johar Gram Samriddhi Yojana. Under the wage employment programs, the National Rural Employment Program NREP and Rural Landless Employment Guarantee Program RLEGP were started in 6th and 7th plan. The JRY was meant to generate meaningful employment opportunities for the unemployed and underemployed in rural areas through the creation of economic infrastructure and community and social assets. the Johor Rozgar Yojana comes into existence in the 6th or 7th planning time, means 6th or 7th 5-year planning time. The basic objective of JRY was to bringing up to reduce the unemployment and create employment opportunity. For how the employment opportunity was created by creation of economic infrastructure and social asset. Social asset means the asset which established in their own society and they can use by their own. Rural housing or Indira Awas Yojana. Next we discuss about Indira Awas Yojana. The Indira Awas Yojana IAY program aims at providing free housing to below poverty line families. Below poverty line means BPL in rural areas, and main targets would be the household of SC or STs. It was first merged with the Johor Rozgar Yojana in 1989, and in 1996 it broke away from JRY into a separate housing scheme for the rural poor. So, in first slide, in the concept, we discussed the basic necessities of a human life. In basic necessities, housing is one of them. So, our central government target eradication of the necessities of housing by implementing a program Indira Awas Yojana. The Indira Awas Yojana mainly targets to eradicate the housing problem of those people who comes under BPL and those who comes under SC means scheduled caste and ST means scheduled tribe. The IAY program was merged in 1981 with JRY, but in 1996 it broke away from JRY and make its own separate program or schemes for the rural poor. Next, we discuss about Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act MGNREGA, which was established in 2005. MGNREGA Act was launched on 2nd February 2005. The Act provides 100 days assured employment to every rural household. 1/3 of the proposed jobs would be reserved for women. The central government will also establish National Employment Guarantee Funds. Similarly, state governments will establish state employment guarantee funds for implementation of the scheme. So, the MGNREGA Act was established mainly to eradicate the poor condition of employment. It introduced 100 days of work to everyone in a rural area, and the 1/3 of the proposed job was reserved for women. It is a good sign for women empowerment also, and the MGNREGA program mainly run by the central government with the collaboration of state government of every state. Under the MGNREGA program, if an applicant is not provided employment within 15 days, she or he will be entitled to a daily unemployment allowance. There was a good sign in MGNREGA Act, that was, if an applicant was not assigned or not employed within 15 days, she or he will get unemployment allowance, means some sort of monetary help from the government. And next we discuss about National Food for Work program. It was launched on November 14, 2004 in 150 most backward districts of the country. The objective of the program was to provide additional resources available under Sampurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana. This was 100% centrally funded program. Now this program has been assumed in the MGNREGA from February 2006. In basic necessities, food also a major factor. So, to eradicate the poor condition regarding food, central government launched a program in November 14, 2004. The main objective of the program was to provide additional resources available under Sampurna Gramin Rozgar Yojana. The program was launched in 150 backward district, and this program was fully funded by the central government. From 2006, the program was merged into MGNREGA. The other programs were NRLM, National Rural Livelihood Mission, Pradhan Mantri Kushal Vikas Yojana, National Heritage Development and Augmentation Yojana. These are all the various programs which was launched by central government, and with the collaboration of state government, it is running successfully. Thank you so much. Here we discuss about the whole poverty conditions and indicators of poverty, the types of poverty and anti-poverty programs which is running in India. Thank you once again. Hopefully you will enjoy the session.